Today's guest is the founder and director of Canyon Creek Camp, one of the best kids' summer camps here in California. In 2010, he co-founded the Harold Robinson Foundation, which serves the inner city youth and communities through diverse camp programming. He has raised over $5 million for the organization through his foundation's premier fundraising event called Pedal on the Pier. He considers himself blessed to have had all the opportunities he has had, and he truly lives his life by paying it forward, all while living with Parkinson's disease. Please welcome my guest, Jeff Robinson.
Thank you. You have me tearing up a little bit.
Oh, I'm so grateful to have you here today.
It's a pleasure to see you again.
And the sweetest thing and the most humbling thing about you is you were kind of curious as to why I was having you, which is, in itself, you do so much for the youth and so many people, and I think it's such a testament of your character because you're going through your own stuff, and you've been going through your own stuff, and you continue to serve, and I think that is one of the best human qualities that there is.
Well, thank you.
And that's why you're here.
I appreciate it. I listened to a bunch of your shows, and I'm a big fan, and I was doctors and some people who have done some really great things, and also some people that overcame some really big odds. So I like. It was inspiring for me to watch that.
Yeah, and I've seen firsthand, I can't imagine the magnitude of the effect that you've had doing these Camp Ubuntu. It's called Camp Ubuntu, right?
Yeah.
Where you bring in kids from the inner city and Watts in particular, and the effect. I mean, I've been able to see firsthand. I've been able to go to the camp, and my son has been able to spend a little time there and make really great friends with a couple of the kids. But it's just amazing because some of these kids, it's their only outlet. I mean, some of them have never even seen trees, as crazy as that sounds.
At first it was all about exposure and bringing up as many kids as we could. But then we realized the kids were having this experience and going back to the same set of circumstances for themselves.
Right.
Nothing was changing for them. So we started bringing up parents and aunts and uncles and teachers for a shared experience. And the word Ubuntu comes out of South Africa. Yeah. And it's a philosophy on the way they live their life in certain villages there. And if you don't have food, I don't have food. If you don't have shelter, I don't have shelter. It's a beautiful philosophy. And all about sharing in community, and in the Watts community in South Los Angeles and a lot of communities, people aren't, that's not the way they live their life.
Right.
So we bring them up to camp, and camp has been a magical place. Not only for those kids, but for kids from the West Side.
Yeah.
There are counselors. They're seeing what goes on at Watts for the first time. They have no idea.
Right.
So it's great for everybody. It's great for our counselors. Half our counselors are formerly incarcerated adults that grew up in that community.
Wow.
And they're part of ARC, which is Anti-Recidivism Coalition, an amazing organization where they help former inmates, people that were incarcerated, get jobs and get their education and truly be rehabbed.
Wow.
And it's, sorry, I'm moving around here so much.
No, that's fine. Because they wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise. I mean, that's what I think a lot of people don't realize is growing up in these environments, you have a handful, of opportunity, and it's usually,
not much.
Gang banging or drug dealing, and these types of negative things that you end up incarcerated because you don't have any other option.
And they don't know.
And they don't know
the opportunities out there. I mean, when we talk about leveling the playing field, I'm just talking about exposure.
Right.
So we'll have people from that community that are now accountants or in marketing or in tech, and they'll come back and speak to the kids, not just athletes, not just police officers, because that's all they see and that's all they know. So it's opened these kids' eyes to another world they didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And it's by bringing them up to camp, we've been able to do that. And really, it's opened up everybody's eyes.
And that's what I mean. Like, I've seen it firsthand. I got to come to your camp when there was a retreat going and teach yoga, not to the kids, but to adults. But I brought my son, and there was a couple other kids that were still there working, and Kaleo became great friends with this one kid that had the set of circumstances that he's been dealt would probably, most people would not have survived, or in the very least, be a good human being.
Right.
And this kid was so gracious, and they spent the whole day fishing. We were just talking about that. Kaleo taught him how to fish. They caught frogs, which he had never done any of these things.
So it's time for everything.
Yeah. And you know what the coolest thing is? I knew this kid's story because I had talked to you. But Kaleo hung out with him for 3 days. And on the drive home, Kaleo was so wide-eyed about what a great time they had. They were on stage dancing at the bonfire, and they were doing all kinds of fun things. And I said, Kaleo, do you know his story? And I told him his story. He's been, a million foster families, and I mean, every negative circumstance.
Right.
And Kaleo said, you know what, Mom? I hung out with him for 3 days, and he never said one negative thing or complained about his life at all. So just my son being able to be around these type of people in this environment, I mean, is such a gift.
It's a win-win for everybody that's there.
It is.
Our counselors, I can tell a kid from Watts, hey, don't join a gang.
Right.
But I'm white and from Beverly Hills. What do I know? They look at me like, what could you possibly know about my life?
Right.
My co-counselor is from Inglewood. Grew up in the gangs, was incarcerated. Now he's out. And he can mentor him in a way that I can't. But together, we can do great things. I can expose and network. And some of our kids that are now teenagers have gotten jobs, through just being around camp.
Yeah.
And bumping into people like yourself that got to know these great kids. I mean, this boy you talked about, he's been in 10 foster homes.
I know.
And I know you know this, he was just literally shot.
Yeah.
In a random drive-by shooting in Carson, shot 5 times.
Which is so crazy to me because I remember having this conversation, and I don't know if it was from the video that you share at the camp and stuff, but people were talking about like the shooting in Watts and the shooting in some of these communities is such a regular occurrence that it's not even...
It's a normal day thing.
It's a normal day.
I mean, when I went to Beverly Hills schools, if there was a shooting, they would shut the whole area down.
Right.
And Watts, you hear the bullhorns, you hear the helicopters, there's police everywhere. It's normal.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what got our foundation going on steroids.
Yeah.
Is just knowing all these stories. I mean, I didn't have to worry about walking to school safely. And when you talk to these kids, they're like, Jeff, we want to learn, but we can't get to school safely. So
you were Ubering some kids to school at one point.
That one boy we're talking about, he was flunking out of school because he had to take 2 buses and a train to get to school. And he was getting jumped. And he's a pretty big kid.
Yeah.
But we started Ubering him, my wife and I, to school, and he's got a 3.6 grade point average.
Yeah. And he survived. I mean, he was shot 5 times or so. I mean, he's doing great. I mean, he's overcome.
It's unbelievable.
And now one of the counselor's parents actually is fostering him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really the impact, and we had talked about this privately, and you said, isn't that just the coolest story? And I said, and that's all because of you.
Well, I mean, it takes a village.
Yeah.
And when we do this pedal on the Pier, we raised $1 million the last 2 years. That's 4,000 donations, people I don't know anymore, people getting involved and really finding something they can get involved in and see it happen. Yeah. You could donate $5 and come up to camp and see it at work.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this foundation. There's so many great causes and so many great foundations, but you can't go see your money in a test tube.
Right.
Working. This you can come and get involved. And we welcome anybody that wants to get involved because you can make a difference. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I knew we'd plant some trees, but I didn't know they'd grow as fast as they've grown.
Yeah.
It's been great.
The impact, and I mean, you only see so much of it. I mean, you shared this really sad story about a young girl that had been coming to your camp and committed suicide.
Right.
But
it's tragic. I mean, the second I heard she committed suicide, I knew it wasn't her.
Right.
I knew someone had either forced her to do that or their actions caused her to do that.
Right.
It's really sad, and my wife and I and David Moss the other founder, went down to the housing development where they lived. And it was just like another day. I mean, it was so tragic.
Because it's so common for
It's so common
deaths
there.
to have, yeah.
They have a wall at one of the housing developments, and the kid's goal is not to get their name on that wall, because that means you die. And that's like, you talk to the kids, they're like, I don't want my name on that wall.
Wow.
It's their sole goal in life. And, you know,
But you visited what the story that was so beautiful to me, and I mean, it's so sad, but at the same time, it's got to tug at your heartstrings when you went to go visit the family, and obviously the whole family, you said, was probably on crack or some kind of drugs.
we were definitely high
Right, but
out
you,
front, and definitely don't want to mention names, but,
right,
you know, I felt that whoever had caused her to maybe commit that suicide was there as one of the group, because the gentleman wouldn't look us in the eye.
right.
And it was just sad. It was
Yeah.
so sad.
But
See the quality, how they valued life. I mean, there was a shrine in her room of camp.
That's yeah.
Everything in her room was about camp.
Yeah.
She loved camp. She always talked about it. And then we went to the school afterwards, and it was the same thing. Like, nobody was talking about this beautiful, poor girl that had committed suicide.
Yeah.
And that hurt.
And I think that's what's so great about the camp too, is you bring in the family, because it's one thing if you're able to, I mean, and I've seen the videos of these kids having breakdowns and breakthroughs, and you know, dancing and community and coming together and in this beautiful environment, but then they go home back to the same thing. So I think it's so beautiful that you invite the family to come and hopefully make a core shift.
Right.
Yeah.
That's been key, is to get the parents or the aunts and the uncles to buy in, because there's 2 generations of African Americans in Watts that are gone, incarcerated, or died.
Wow.
There's like no men around for the most part. And it's not because they're bad men. There was a lot of incarceration that went on there for decades. And I won't get into that, because there's a long story to that and a long history to that. But it's great to see these parents step up. A lot of times, you know, we bring up the elementary schools first, because we want to introduce these kids to things they don't know about, and also each other. Like in each neighborhood, there's a gang. So when you go to middle school, now you're crossing into those territories. There's 17 gangs in a 2-mile area in Watts. So middle school, when they need their parents the most, that's when the parents kind of pull back. And the kids walk to school, and they get jumped. It's like the movie Warriors every day for these kids. And the graduation rate was like 48%. And it's just unacceptable. So we started a day camp there, 6 weeks in the summer at the middle school.
Oh, wow.
And it's for free. Any kid can come from the community. They don't have to go to that school. They just have to be in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. And the beauty of that day camp is that these kids are introduced to each other, and they start looking at each other like, why do I hate you? You know, I've been here on this playground, and we've been playing football or basketball. And why do I hate you again? Because they're told they have to hate them. They live on a different block.
Yeah.
So I think we've made, I mean, the principals of the schools have told us that we made a difference. Attendance is better, behavior is better. When I walked into Markham Middle School 7 years ago, I was frightened.
Right.
I felt safer going to prison. Wow. And meeting people at the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I felt going into that school.
Wow.
And so it's been great.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing Saturday camps and weekend camps and spring break and winter break, because to make a change, you got to be there.
How can people, I mean, I know Pedal on the Pier. Do you want to talk about what that is?
Sure.
That's like the premier fundraising event that you guys do to raise money, right?
We started 9 years ago. This will be our 9th year. And our friend Jesse Itzler did it in Central Park, New York. He did 100 spin bikes in the park. And we modeled it out here, and it's just caught fire for us. So there's 100 spin bikes. Every bike has to raise $2,500. Some people raise a lot more than that. And it's a great, I'm biased, but it's a fun event.
Yeah.
We have music. We've had W. Fresh there.
It's on Santa Monica Pier?
Santa Monica Pier.
And it's in the summer, right?
Sunday, June 2nd.
June 2nd.
First Sunday every year. And we got music, we got food, we got a bar, we got dancing. Soul Train dancers were there last year. We had a couple Laker girls and Clipper girls and Ram girls. And it's just great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people.
Yeah.
All for the same cause.
Yeah.
Helping other people.
Little taste of what the camp really is, I think, too.
Yeah. I mean,
with the bikes.
to go up at camp is once someone up there, nobody goes up there and says this sucks.
No. Yeah.
Never had that happen.
Yeah.
So if I can get people up to the camp,
Yeah.
like yourself, I got them.
Yeah.
Good.
What started the whole thing? Like, how did you start with the camp? Like, where did that come from?
I was lucky enough to go to camp as a kid.
Yeah.
I loved camp. I loved the experience. I love it. Kind of everybody's the same, you know. You're wearing that camp shirt. They don't know if I'm from Watts or Beverly Hills. They might know if they start talking to me a little bit, but
Right.
or it's. I like the fact that we were all the same.
It's more an even
At least that
playing
was the
field.
perception when
Yeah.
I was 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
More of a level playing field. So we started scholarshiping. My dream was to own and operate a camp. So I was in the apparel business, sold the family business. My dad had Parkinson's too. And I wanted out. I wanted to chase my dream, which is to own and operate a camp. So did that. It's obviously a very emotional move on my part, but I'm living the dream, you know?
Yeah.
It's been great. For me, it's been the best medicine I take for Parkinson's
Yeah.
is being up there.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the power of the mind and wellness, and being up there has been great.
Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit about this because I didn't know that your dad also had Parkinson's. So you knew what the disease was before you were diagnosed.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely knew. He had it for 14 years. He passed away from complications from the Parkinson's. He wasn't really open to all the things I've been open to as far as eating a certain way and living a certain way. He was very positive about he never complained one time. And he went through a lot toward the end of his life. So he taught me about being positive, which I already was. And then I said to myself, hey, if I take the Western meds only, I'm going to have the same fate.
Right.
So I've tried to, and I'm a testament for how hard it is. I mean, people look at it when you have a disease like this or a condition, and they look at it like, if you know how to beat it,
Right.
and I feel like I have that,
Right.
why don't you just do it? And for most people, they want the magic pill. They want that pill. And most people don't have the discipline to do what Magic did, Magic's like who I look to, and when he announced he was HIV positive, I was like, damn, he ain't gonna make it. Everybody thought that.
Yeah.
Nobody thought Magic would be here 25 years later, so
Wow.
that
it's been
showed me a
25
lot.
years
yeah.
already. That's
been-
crazy.
And so I know I can beat this condition,
Yeah.
and will beat it through other Eastern medicine, holistic medicine, and just yoga,
Yeah.
and doing all the things that you've done.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like disease has been one of my greatest teachers because it really forces you to look at your life and look what you're doing on a daily basis. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it, especially when your body is doing things that
Right.
it's
I
I'm
don't
in my
forget.
body. I'm in my body. So what do you think, if there was one thing, what has Parkinson's taught you?
It's taught me. I mean, I've had a great life. Unbelievable. Grew up here in Beverly Hills, seen so many things, been to so many places. I've had a great life. And I consider the last 15 years that I've had this disease or condition to be wonderful as well. I've learned that I was kind of unconscious about living life, a little bit unconscious about the disease and things that were going on around me, and I'm hypersensitive to it now.
Yeah.
My therapist said to me when I went in and told her I had Parkinson's, she said, I think you have Parkinson's for a reason. I was like, God, it's kind of evil. Why would you say that? And she said, because look how many people are looking at you and look how many people you know. And when you beat this thing, you're going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And I just want to point something out, when I met you at the camp and there was, so much going on and you're, it's your camp and there's kids and there's things and, everything. And you're just this this humble voice that's kind of holding space, you know.
Right.
And sometimes you can tell you have Parkinson's, sometimes you know you don't.
Right.
It comes in waves, so to speak.
Yeah, it really does.
But in that moment, when you can tell you have Parkinson's and you're running this camp, you are beating it.
Right.
You are beating it, you know. And because I just want to let you know that you are seen, you know, and you're so strong, you know, to like I said, to be. I think when people go through their own storm and continue to help people, that's like the greatest testament of their character. And I just think it's so beautiful, everything that you do for the youth, and you know, from whether they're from the inner city or you know just kids coming to your camp. I think it's absolutely amazing. And
Thank you.
I hope I can get Kaleo in there to be a counselor. I think he'll love it.
We got a spot for him for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, for
He
sure.
was great with that young man he met, and they're still friends.
Yeah, they're still friends.
And they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, how many kids from Beverly Hills are friends with kids in Watts?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot now.
Yeah.
A lot now. That's great. I mean, people in Calabasas, people in Encino, people in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
These kids know, and they go tell their parents.
Yeah.
Who they might not have had a great relationship with, but they come home from camp and they're like, Mom, I will never complain.
Yeah.
You know, about that dress or that car, because I got kids this weekend have nothing.
Exactly.
They have a lot, but they have nothing.
Yeah.
And they don't complain.
They're
That's
so
what they-
grateful. They're so grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah. It is amazing.
Kids are awesome.
Yeah. I'm so excited to see what you're going to do. So what can people do if they're out of state and they can't necessarily do pedal for the Pier? Where can they help donate or?
Right. They can go to pedalonthepier.com, pedalonthepier.com, and just make a donation to anybody's bike, or there's a bike for the foundation, Harold Robinson Foundation. And
Is that where they can see the video too? It's like,
Yeah.
Cool. They can get
and
an
they can
idea.
cross over to see the foundation video as well.
Nice.
See what we do and what
Yeah.
that money goes towards. And the thing I think I'm most proud of, or one of the things that we're most proud of, is that pretty much 95 cents on the dollar is going towards camp.
Wow.
And whether it be the day camp in Watts or the sleepover camp that we do first, then we reinforce it in the Watts community. And we have some really great people that have taken on the day camp and all the expenses and are trying to help us with the weekend camps. And there's 3 wonderful people that are sponsoring that whole thing, the whole day camp,
Wow.
which is 200 people every day for 6 weeks. So.
And this is so important because, you know, the kids are our future. And I think by making this shift and giving them this opportunity when they're young,
Right.
creates such a change in the community. And I always say what affects one of us eventually affects all of us.
Right.
Whether
For
it's
sure.
in your city or not, it's going to make a
sure.
shift, you know.
I mean, you look at the Watts rides, and people in this community, or people in the community I grew up in Beverly Hills, as long as they didn't come into Beverly Hills,
Yeah, right.
hey,
Exactly.
we're okay.
Yeah.
And that's what the thought
Blinders.
process was. They were living in a bubble. And now you're starting to see some of that crime sweep through these neighborhoods. And if we don't take care and try to level the playing field and just take care of the human race, it's going to be bad.
The human race.
Yeah. I mean, and I call it heads or tails. I got heads. Kids in this community got tails, not because they don't have great parents, because they have as great a parents and not that they don't have great teachers. Teachers are phenomenal down there. It's just a set of circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, they're living sometimes in a 1 or 2 block radius. That's all they know. Fast food. That's all they know. There's no nutrition. Obesity and diabetes is epidemic down there. Fast food only. I mean, if you want to get an apple that's not shot up with all sorts of crap, you got to go an hour away. So there's a lot of work to be done down there to level that playing field, but you got to start somewhere. And I've been encouraged by what we've been able to do with a lot of people's help.
I've been encouraged too.
Thank you.
I want to ask you one last question. I always ask all my guests. Just tell me whatever comes to mind. What's your golden secret?
Wow. I would say my golden secret is just to be me. Just be myself and try to give as many people the vehicle to help others as possible. Because it takes a village.
Yeah.
That statement is so true, and really to make a difference in the community, you got to continue to show up, continue to be there and show these kids that you're not going to go away. So I'd say consistency and just trying to give people a vehicle to help. Because a lot of people want to do something, but they don't know how to do it, or they don't know where to go or how to go about it. So they don't, you know. And through the kids and through the exposure we've gotten in all the different communities, I'm seeing these trees grow. And so I guess that's my golden secret. Just trying to
I love
help.
the consistency part too, because I think with kids, you know, especially kids that have been in the circumstances like we've been talking about, they don't trust people.
Right.
And consistency.
Abandonment is such an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about this one boy who's been in 10 homes. 5 of those homes drugged him because they get more money if you drug your kid in the foster care system. So he'd like speak out, and they'd give him Ritalin, you know, because they said he had anger management issues. He didn't have anger management issues. He was pissed at his situation, but it's a gentle giant, and now he's being drugged, you know,
Yeah.
so the parents can get more money. So there's problems in the foster care system for sure.
Oh yeah.
And we can just chip away.
Yeah. But he's in a good place now.
It's in a great place.
Thank goodness.
You know where he's at. I know where he's at.
Yeah.
Really wonderful.
Yeah, we're
family
gonna go
there.
visit him again now soon. Kaleo.
Awesome.
To go hang out. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jeff, for
Thank
being
you.
here today and sharing your story.
Appreciate it.
Pedal on the Pier. We're gonna go raise some money.
Pedalonthepier.com.
Yeah.
We're going to crash that glass ceiling and go over 2 million hopefully.
Yay! Let me give you a hug.
Thank you.